The Nuggets dominated you guys. They were in
I
control.
wouldn't say it was domination.
But they were always in
Each
control.
series because it's the Lakers. They're gonna go after big names, whether that be Damian Lillard, Kyrie Irving, Trae Young, whatever the
But what
case.
if that fails? What do you do then?
Then I'll consider trading him.
Like then you have to trade him.
Yeah, like that's fine then, right? As if LeBron is on this team, I'm not trading Anthony Davis.
Yo guys, welcome back to the BTR podcast. Thank you guys for 60 subscribers. We're 40 away from 100, so please subscribe if you haven't. Like, comment below.
Make sure you guys also hit the notification bell, as it will notify you when we upload our videos. We're also dropping YouTube Shorts as well, so make sure to subscribe. Also, make sure to follow our socials, our TikTok and Instagram especially, as we are dropping Instagram Reels and TikToks as well. Without further ado, let's get started. We'll start with the NHL. Had a big day today.
Yeah, the series end. First NHL series sweep today, with the Florida Panthers sweeping the Carolina Hurricanes 4-0. But what a close series still, because all 4 games ended in 1 goal.
Yeah, today's game was probably the best game including the Western Conference Finals. Want to start off with Florida? Or do you want to start off with Carolina?
Let's start off with Florida, and let's start off with their MVPs, because I'm gonna say in plural because it's Matthew Tkachuk and Sergei Bobrovsky.
So Sergei Bobrovsky, let's start there. Man, this dude always on a wave usually. Signed that big contract with Florida a couple of years ago after having a great season with Columbus, and obviously his up and down season. But even like in the playoffs, he didn't even start. He finally started, and he's just showing why he's that number one guy again.
The reason for that, because he was injured coming into playoffs, so they had Alex Lyon, who did well in the regular season just to help him get into the postseason.
Yeah.
And then when they were down in Boston, Sergei Bobrovsky came back and just absolutely ripped shit up.
Yeah, been very impressed. Obviously, the Canes. I guess later on in the Canes today, but like the Canes were outplaying them for the most part in this series. And Bobrovsky keeping it like 1-goal games, quadruple overtime. We were like, oh my God, the Hurricanes are about to end this game right now. In the first game, no, Bobrovsky kept it going. So yeah, I think even if I had to pick one between him and Tkachuk, it is Bobrovsky still, because without him, they would not be where they are right now. And then flipping over to Matthew Tkachuk, what a game. 2 goals. The game, how it ended, I guess, for you guys that didn't watch it really, Carolina tied it late, like with like a couple of minutes to go, and then with 5 seconds to go, Matthew Tkachuk buries it home, and
that was a series winner.
Yeah. He's been the MVP of the playoffs most likely as well, along with Bobrovsky, like the most consistent forward, like out on ice player. And I don't think it's too. I guess it's close, but the way Dallas is looking, I think Matthew Tkachuk may have consistently been the best forward or defenseman on the ice. You agree with that?
Yeah, Matthew Tkachuk's been the best forward in the NHL in this postseason. And Florida Panthers also had the best goalie in the NHL, and Sergei Bobrovsky. But Matthew Tkachuk, that's his 3rd game winner of the series. First game with 4 overtimes. Second game with 2 overtime within a minute. And now this game with 5 seconds left in regulation. Bounce back, end off the Carolina Hurricanes, and clinched the first ever franchises. No, I believe it was a
I think they made it
chance.
sometime in the
They
90s.
made it before, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So give them a chance to get their first ever Stanley Cup.
Yeah, so I have a question for you. Obviously, if the Panthers didn't make it, they would have been like one of the more disappointing teams for sure. But we always have this conversation of how like we can ask Canucks fans, rebuild, retool, whatever, get in, what happens. Florida got in, right? But the difference is they have the talent to get in with Matthew Tkachuk, Carter Verhaeghe stepped up, Aaron Ekblad on the back end.
You got Barkov, Montour.
Yeah, so do you think teams should follow this philosophy of like, let's try to get in and see what happens mentality? Because obviously it doesn't work often, right? Like St. Louis did that a couple of years ago. They won it all, but not often you win it all. Especially like Montreal didn't win it in the shortened season.
But Montreal still made the final.
Yeah, that's what I mean, but they didn't win it all. But so like, do you think this will like fool some teams into like being like, okay, let's get in the playoffs and anything will happen?
I mean, they were supposed to be a playoff team from the beginning. Like you got Matthew Tkachuk, right? You still have Barkov, you still have Ekblad, you still have uh Carter Verhaeghe, you still have Duclair. They
Yeah.
got healthy. The thing with the Florida Panthers was helping them really right now is they started playing playoff hockey like a month before the actual playoff started because like every game was a must win for them just to make it into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that will help them because like they're playing must win games. They're playing meaningful hockey before the actual meaningful hockey starts. So like that's a good like way to prepare and good way to just good momentum also obviously because like you went on that little run just to make the playoffs and then that helped you get this far now.
See, what you're saying is the Canucks should not follow this
The
and try to
Canucks
properly build this
the
up.
Canucks just suck, right? Like Florida at least has like
The
a
talent.
built out roster,
Yeah.
right?
No, for
Like
sure.
Canucks
It,
just have like three, four
yeah, the
pieces.
reason why I brought it up was because you see on Twitter, you see on like live shows and stuff that like or people here saying, "Oh, just get in and anything could happen." But usually that only works if you have the high end talent, right? Like even with St. Louis back then, they had got the talent. Obviously with Kachuk this year, arguably the second or third best player in the league this season. MVP, obviously MVP candidate, the Hart Trophy. So yeah, no, I agree with you. That this Panther team, were obviously similar to like when we get to the Lakers talk, was similar in that sense as well. Like just get in and see what happens, right? Yeah, I guess anything else other
Yeah.
than congratulating the Panthers.
Bobrovsky had a 130-minute shuttle streak that got ruined today.
Yeah.
So like end of I believe game 2 was a 2-1 victory. So since like Carolina Hurricanes goal from then shutout in game 3 all the way up until Carolina Hurricanes first goal today was like around a 130-minute shuttle streak. So that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I guess like as you said, let's talk about the Canes now. The Canes, man, the injuries, that's like their number one issue, right? Obviously, you were missing. Tiro Vainen came back, but he was hurt during the playoffs. Max Pacioretty tore his Achilles again. Svechnikov gets injured right before the season started, and even today, Sam Bennett. I didn't get to see the hit properly, but it was a clean hit from what I hear. Took out Jacob Slavin, their best defenseman, right? Like essentially, you're playing with your best forward in Svechnikov, in my opinion, and you're playing without your best defenseman. And they still managed to get 3 goals, right? Down 2-0. We're like, all right, it's done. Slavin's out. What the hell is gonna happen? Obviously, went down 3-2 and scored late, and we thought, all right, here we go, another overtime game, right? But obviously, Kachuk had to end it. I think that was like the number one issue. And then like Rod Brindamore, on the other hand, was just saying like, I don't know what to do because you mentioned it last episode. Sergei Bobrovsky was the reason why they couldn't win these games.
Yeah, so it's like once a goalie is hot, he's hot, man, right? And then he gets into the forwards' heads like, okay, how the hell am I gonna beat this dude?
Yeah,
Right? Like, yes, probably today is a day. Like, yeah, you got 3 goals past him, but you allowed 4, so it didn't matter at the end of the day. But there were doubts in the Canes players' heads that like, okay, yo, I can't beat this dude, right? So they start thinking about instead of just shooting the puck, they're trying to make it a perfect shot instead of just getting the puck on net. So then at the end of the day, Bobrovsky just did Bobrovsky things. And yeah, they couldn't really do anything. If at the end of the day, like if the goalie is that hot, it's hard to score. Plus with Pacioretty and Svechnikov being injured, uh, 2 people who get goals
yeah,
does not help either.
yeah. So like, I guess it's this it's unfair for the Canes because like in the history books you're gonna see 4-0 sweep. Oh yeah, they got destroyed by 8 seed as like a top 2 seed essentially. But then obviously people that actually watch the game they'll know that like nah, this was just like a Bobrovsky run, and especially that they got to the conference finals without the 2 guys and Tyrväinen until he came back this series. It's big, right? Um, but here like I guess moving on, what should the Canes be doing, right? Because the problem was during the trade deadline, they played it safe, and then Svechnikov got hurt, right? They were in on Timo Meyer before Jersey got him. So the Canes also have a few players that are either free agents. I think both their goalies are. I think they also have guys that are going to have like I think 1 year remaining. Sebastian Aho being one of them, but I don't see him leaving. There's no way unless he really wants out. So, especially with Rob Brindamore coaching that team. Do the Canes need to be a little bit more aggressive now when it comes to this? Because they usually are the team that plays it safe. Like they have their system, their thing, and it works. And it does. They get into the playoffs. But then the bad luck with the injuries, then you don't have that depth behind them.
Yeah, I mean, like last couple of years, like they've been a little bit disappointed, but this is probably like the furthest they've gotten with this, like
I think
with this
2019,
run.
yeah, 2019 they got swept, but like I think the sweeps were different.
Yeah, and then last year you got eliminated in the second round by the Rangers. So this is the furthest you've gotten. You gotta be like you gotta get your players back at the end of the day. I'm not sure who are the free agents. I mean, we'll get into that, in the off season.
Yeah, not a good class though. From
Yeah,
if the best player
but
available is probably
like
Patrick Kane, but
at
yeah,
this rate, you're just like you just gotta be thinking, okay, if I'm about to lose this guy, how do I replace him right away, right? Like say, for example, Colorado when Landeskog was a free agent, right? There were chances of him Landeskog leaving, right?
yeah,
They had a Philip Forsberg trade like on the back, just like if he's gone, they're like, all right, we're gonna pull that trigger for Philip Forsberg. So like they gotta think like that now. Like if so, say someone's about to leave, think of the replacement, think of a good replacement, and
yeah.
be aggressive to get that replacement. All right.
Their management is smart. I remember I think their GM did come on the Halford Brush in the morning. I was listening to it. This is pretty much what he said. Like they're never over going to be over the cap or like stuck by the cap. They'll have it planned out accordingly. And yeah, they were going after Timo Meyer. The question was how aggressive were they? Were they willing to give more than what Jersey did? Even though I don't even think Jersey gave up a lot to get him, in my opinion, at the time. But not enough about that. But yeah, I think they need to find like I don't know if Pacioretty's a free agent or not. I don't know how long his Achilles injury is gonna take to heal. Obviously, in basketball terms, it usually takes a year or more, right? But and then even then, like how is his skating gonna be? Right, this is his second injury on the Achilles. I don't know how Svechnikov's gonna be when he comes back. Obviously, I feel like he'll be fine. So the key is, can you find or trade for someone that can be available, you know, uh, that could help that void in that scoring department, especially, right? Clearly, they don't have finishing, right? Like I don't think like Sebastian, how good of a player he is, he's not a clear cut finisher like Apache already was, right? Like, sorry, is and like Svechnikov is. So the key is, I think they need to be a little bit aggressive and try to find that goal scoring touch and try to find that depth, so that way we don't give this excuse again next year.
Yeah, the reason also why the Hurricanes were also so successful is because they got like points from their back line a lot, right? Their D line produced a lot of points and goals as well. Like people like Brent Burns, who turned back the clock a little bit. Shane Gostisbehere was also an offensive defenseman. They just got a lot of points from their D line, which also helped contribute, contribute to the uh, points and goals as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see what the offseason goes. But this is going to be somewhat intriguing. Obviously, we haven't done our research enough to know who's available, who's not available, um, who on the Canes is on the last year of their deal or are going to be a UFA or RFA this year. But speaking from one hot goalie in Bobrovsky, let's move on to the next series. Ottinger, what the hell's wrong with this guy, man? Like he from last year carrying them against Calgary, even though they did lose his seven, to this year getting pulled in a home game, right? It's insane. Like you said, goalies are random, right? Like Bobrovsky's on a wavelength, like up and down, up and down. Ottinger, I guess same thing, right? We rarely see goalies consistent, right? Like recently it was just Vasilevsky and he struggled this year, but other than that, like I don't know too much of how much a goalie could carry, and clearly Ottinger is struggling.
He's
They're down
struggling.
3-0 also, by the way.
Yeah, and they're down 3-0. They lost like 4-0 in the last game. Uh, Orange struggling is because he's tired, man. They played 62 games in the regular season, plus a 6 game series, a 7 game series. Dallas in general look fatigued, right? Like Vegas has been more dominant. Vegas has more rest, and then Dallas just look tired. Eichel's been absolutely incredible in this
Yeah,
playoffs. He's playing his best hockey in his career
yeah,
at the
not talked
most
about
important
enough for
at the
sure.
most important time. But like back to Ottinger's, like he's looking fatigued for sure.
And it doesn't help when your captain, your leader, does a stupid cross-checking penalty. And yeah, Jamie Benn hasn't been the same Jamie Benn. It's more of a Jason Roberts and Rupe Hintz show compared to a Sega and Ben show, but he's still your leader, and now he's out 2 games. So even if you guys do pull it off and win next game, which we'll get into our predictions later, he's missing on the game at Vegas, right? So it doesn't help when you're already down 1-0 and you're on a 5-minute major, and Vegas as hot as they are. Jack Eichel, like you just mentioned, Mark Stone, like you just mentioned, doesn't help like help any causes. No wonder they're down like early that big.
Yeah, it's because Vegas responded like properly. Like, they didn't fight back at like, they didn't like have the little line brawl after the hit.
Yeah,
Right? They're like, all right, we're gonna punish these guys and we're gonna punish these guys by scoring and absolutely whooping them in game three.
and it doesn't even help. Also, it doesn't help when you had the lead in game two to, get the split that you need. So, just because of that, the pressure is on. The question is, will they get swept?
Yes. They're just tired.
I mean, keep in mind, my predictions have been bad. So if whatever I predict, the opposite will probably happen. You've been kind of decent on your
Yeah, I've been like
predictions.
50-50. I didn't get them all right, but I got
I
some of
got
them
all of them
right.
wrong.
Yeah, but no, but the Dallas, they look tired. They're physically tired, and obviously with that collapse in game two, now they're mentally feeling it too. So like it's kind of hard to bounce back. Um, Jamie Ben's being suspended. They could maybe steal game four, but I'm not sure if that's gonna be them winning the game or
I
or
just
Vegas taking a step back.
yeah I'm gonna say Vegas sweeps after that performance. I don't know if Ottinger he hasn't shown the bounce back consistently as you would hope, even in the previous series when they kind of struggled. At least that's what I think. I think it's gonna be a sweep. Jamie Ben's out, your captain's out. I don't know. Like, obviously I said Dallas would win this in six. Clearly I'm wrong. Um, I don't know if they have that fight back right now because, like you said, they're tired. I haven't heard, like last game, you didn't hear any of the players really do much. So I think it's a sweep. You think it's a
Yeah,
sweep,
I mean,
which means
I
we're
was
seeing a game five.
I was leaning towards sweep. I actually might go with game five.
Okay.
I did say before, in the previous episode that Orange is gonna steal one, and he bounced back every time he got pulled in every game.
The question is it too late now?
Nah, I know they're not winning the series. Okay, let's be
Yeah,
real.
yeah,
They're not winning the series, but he could still steal him a game,
true.
right? Like at the end of the day, they gotta empty their tank out in game four. The issue is they're gonna empty out their game in tank four. I mean, game four, their tank's gonna be empty, and then game five, they're not having nothing left, and they're
Bef-
gonna lose in five.
Before we move on, how impressed have you been with Aiden Hill, and how impressed have you been with that Vegas defense playing in front of Aiden Hill?
Yeah, no, Aiden Hill's been like making like 30 plus saves. It's not like Aiden Hill's facing
Yeah,
like 15, 20 shots, right? Like he's facing 30 plus shots and he's making 30 plus saves. So that's pretty impressive just to come in for the goalie. Um, uh, yeah, just absolutely like, just play your game, and he's been playing his game. No, like nothing really bad given up by Aiden Hill. And whatever goals he did give up, they weren't really his fault. Like they were just good goals or they were just good shots.
yeah. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we react to a game five next time. But yeah, I think it's a sweep. You think it's going five? Chances are you're gonna be right based on how our predictions been going. All right, moving on to some of our quickfire topics. We'll continue on with the NHL. There have been some big coaching updates in the past couple of days. There are some openings with obviously Columbus, um, and Calgary. Um, Two names, legendary names, have been popped back up. One of them being Mike Babcock, the other one being Joel Quenville. All right. First with Mike Babcock, we last saw him in the NHL coaching Toronto after having a great career with Detroit. Struggled with Toronto. I mean, every coach has, but the reason why he was also let go, not just because they were struggling, but toxic work environment. So he was let go. He went on to the University of Saskatchewan for a little bit, and now there's reports I think by Frank Saravelli, I believe, or some of the other reporters that his name is being brought back up, specifically to Columbus. The second name, and Joel Quenville, we know what happened with the whole Kyle Beach situation from 2010 Chicago team. Obviously, as a coach, one of the greatest coaches ever. Won 3 cups with them. Was putting Florida on the right track last year, and obviously got let go. First with Babcock, you think he should be back in the league? Do you think he's outdated? Does he need to change? And where do you think you'll see him going, if anywhere?
I mean, it's like, if it was like a toxic workplace issue, then yeah, of course he's got to change, like, personally to make it better. Because I believe it was like you like abused the player as well, right?
Uh, yeah,
Like when he was in Detroit. So that's why I think he was let go. And then, yeah, so it's like because people respect him hockey wise, right?
yeah,
Obviously.
yeah, for
So
sure.
like now it's just like would the players, would the fans respect him as a person? So
Yeah.
that's the question, and like obviously we're not gonna know until if he gets a job, right?
You also gotta adapt to a player's style because look what happened to Daryl Sutter in Calgary as well.
Yeah, that's true because like Jonathan Huberdeau struggled under Sitter,
Sutter.
Daryl Sutter, obviously, and then obviously the team itself struggled. So like they needed like more of a players coach, but like it's a system, right? Like the players gotta fit the coach's system, and that
But the coach also has to adapt to the player's skill set that they receive
yeah. So it's
as
like a
well.
mix, right? Like
Yeah.
you gotta meet in the middle somehow. And
Uh,
then Babcock is a good coach, obviously. Like he got Toronto to the playoffs every time, won cups with Detroit. So I mean, as a hockey wise, I mean, if I'm the Columbus, yeah, go get him. Like he has a proven track
well, this is
record.
be his like last chance essentially.
Yeah, he's also
I
getting
think
like
he's only 60. I'm not if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
but
But
still
yeah.
like there people do want like to have younger head coaches, to have more of a connection with the
Yeah.
players. So like a 60-year-old is still like old.
With
So he would like yeah, this would be his last stint in my opinion.
yeah. With Joel Quenville. So this is what's happening with him from what I've been hearing, seeing on like social media and stuff. New York is also another opening I forgot to mention because Gerard Gallant got fired. Um, he has to meet with Gary Bettman first before being because he is not eligible to coach
Like
due
yeah,
to the
his
Kyle Beach.
situation is much worse
Yeah,
than
so
Mike Babcock's.
if if he is given permission and everything, he's allowed to start coaching again. Should he get the job instantly? And should New York just instantly hire him because that's where he is linked to, or even anywhere else?
I mean, it's
And how would you
tough.
sorry? And how would you feel for him getting a job as well?
I want to feel great about it. I'll be honest. Like that situation was pretty brutal,
Yeah,
right? And then honestly, the punishment hasn't even been that big. Like
1 year. I don't know what
no, I'm
else
talking about
happened.
like for the Chicago
Oh, Chicago
Blackhawks,
in general, but even
right?
with Quenville, it's just 1 year off coaching right
1 year
now.
off coaching. Yeah, like I don't know if the owners of New York or just owners of
It's
any team.
Dolan.
I mean, they just might like, okay, yo, I just want to win. So like, it's a business, right? So like, they don't care about. Sometimes they don't care about the personal stuff.
Yeah, because like I mean, you look at any. And this is not just with Joel Quenville. Any like Deshaun Watson, for example, the NFL. Again, that stuff is alleged. We don't know how because obviously it didn't go through. Like stuff happened. I believe it didn't go through the civil court or whatever. But if you're a good athlete, you're a great coach. You're gonna always get an opportunity once you're allowed to get an opportunity, right? Joel Quenneville is a great coach. We acknowledge that, right? Like what he did with Chicago, he was doing great things with Florida before he obviously wasn't able to coach. If he's allowed to coach, yeah, I'm not gonna feel like as you, I'm not gonna feel great about it. But if he's allowed to coach, I won't blame him or anything because he's allowed to coach, right? And if that's the case, then yeah, he should be a hot commodity. He should get a job instantly, and then we'll see if he actually learned his lesson, and we'll see how it goes down for sure.
Yeah, like yeah, it's a matter of ability at this rate, right? Like if, like you said, ability gets you the job at the end of the day. So like it's a business, man. It's like
Yeah,
that's what it everyone says. That's what everyone will say,
yeah,
especially with all these people that has these issues on the outside the rink or outside the playing field of any sport.
yeah,
So it's just like, okay, if you're good, you're gonna help our team win. You're gonna help our team win, and we'll hire you.
yeah. I guess yeah, we'll see how where it goes. But moving on, we got some big news we forgot to mention last time. Vinicius Jr.
Yeah. So on the weekend, Real Madrid played Valencia. Valencia won 1-0, but the big issue was that Vinicius Jr. was racially abused by the Valencia players on the weekend. The ref did not do anything to stop it. His Real Madrid teammates didn't do anything to stop it. So that's poor job by them. His teammates didn't help, like, help their brother out, which is on their captain, which is I believe Benzema, right? He just stood there and watched, which is just brutal by him, right? And obviously you feel for the guy because he's coming victim to something that's like
It's not the first time either. I think
yeah, it's like
with him especially.
yeah. So it happens multiple times this season.
And you forgot one key thing. Sorry, I know you're
Yeah,
probably going into it.
and then he was also at the end of the game getting choked out by a player. And then while he's getting choked out, Obviously he's gonna do a pushback, right? He's not like you're
Yeah.
getting choked out. He gets the red card. He was in absolute tears after because like you feel for him because like racially abused, red card for no reason, and no one stepped up for him. Like no
Yeah.
teammate, no, not even the ref, or even no, not the coach. Like when when there were racial issues like this, I think it was in Italy before, right? Like the team stopped playing the game.
Yeah.
Like they go into the tunnel. If it's like, especially if it's your own teammates, they'll go in the tunnel, and no one did anything about this, which is like absolutely painful to watch. And like obviously it's sad to see him in tears because he's been through so much in that game alone with the unnecessary red card. The guy who was choking him didn't even get a red card.
Yeah.
He got the red card, and then obviously the racial abuse, which was the big thing that's gonna take a toll on the man.
Yeah. There was a video I think of a fan on in the background in the stands also yelling at him when he was coming off. Yeah. No. First of all, I guess we also got to mention the red card did get rescinded, and well, rightfully so. Players did come out on like I think Tony Cruz came out tweeting at the back. Former teammates with Rafa Varane and Casemiro also supporting him. I don't know. I guess and I didn't pay attention to the story as much as you did, so I don't know exactly what had happened. Obviously, I know you looked into it a little bit more, but it's that's the one thing about European soccer that I hate the most. It's the racism factor, and we've mentioned this before. We were at our cousin's house when we were watching England France in the World Cup, and we were happy that Harry Kane took the penalty and missed because, not saying like oh yeah I'm happy he missed and they lost. I'm saying that because if that was Rashford and Saka, like it was in the Euro final, we already know what was gonna happen, right?
Yeah,
And even in terms of domestic soccer leagues, La Liga has it bad because this isn't the first time,
yeah. La Liga's been pretty
and
bad
I've
recently.
seen posts where like when Madrid played like Champions League against the English teams, they were embracing and everything properly, right? But not in La Liga. So, and yeah, I hope I don't know how long it'll take to get solved. Clearly, it's been going on. We don't know what's happening in that, like how it is in those countries, right? So we can't comment on the political side of things or like what's going on in the country because we've never been there and seen that. But one other thing is Nike also is release, I think, hoping to release or looking to release an anti-racism partnered with Vinicius. So hopefully some change does occur, especially in
Yeah,
soccer because it is the beautiful game. It's the best game. It's probably the most
it's
popular
the most
game.
popular game in the world.
Not probably. It is the most popular game, right? So I hope some justice is found in that. But yeah,
Yeah, just issue is with me is like with the refs, bro. Like you gotta stop the game, man.
yeah,
Like you're giving the fans what they want with a full
exactly.
game. Like they're absolutely ripping into the man unnecessarily, unfairly. Like he's just out there playing his game, playing the game that he loves the most, and then
And
he's
he's
just
good
getting
at it.
he's good at it. He's damn good at it. He
Yeah,
won him a Champions League last
yeah,
year, scored in the final, and now he's getting just racially abused, and you're not doing anything to stop the game. That's like absolutely brutal refereeing, and I believe that referee should be suspended, let go of his job, right? That's absolutely terrible by the ref and his teammates. I don't care if they started sporting him after Twitter. Sport him on the field. That's when you needed him most, right? Like you're just standing there letting this happen, not getting into a tunnel. Benzema just standing there doing nothing. What type of captain is that? Right? Just terrible teammates, in my opinion. Like I don't care if yes, you're gonna support him after the cause. Obviously, it's easier to support him after the cause. Support him during the thing. It's just brutal by Real Madrid, brutal by the refereeing, and obviously just racism in general by the
yeah,
fans.
yeah. Tough transition, but yeah, hopefully it gets better. We always say that every time. But I guess tough transition now, but we obviously have to. Big news in the boxing world. Me and you are pumped for this. Yesterday, on Tuesday, Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford is pretty much made official. July 29 in Vegas. Me and you said this is the biggest fight in the world, more than Fury Usyk, more than like Canelo Benavidez right now. Um, I'm pumped. Can't wait for this fight.
Yeah, obviously,
Yeah,
like
like we were. This is the fight. Like we've seen Spence fight. We've seen Crawford fight. We know they're arguably two of the top five pound for pound in the world. So yeah, obviously we're not gonna talk too much into it now. It's still like 2 months away. But there's also another big fight which we haven't watched much. This is Japanese guy Nao Inoue. He's fighting a guy named Fulton, and it's a big. And Inoue, he's also top five pound for pound. So maybe I'll try to catch that fight to see how that goes out. But big news. Very excited for
yeah,
this.
Spence and Crawford are obviously the
The
two
money
best
fight.
in the division. their
To
weight class.
yeah,
And if you're a casual like us, just mark that date down. You will not be disappointed by the fight. You
yeah,
shouldn't be disappointed by the fight.
exactly.
And then this could be a fight that should be a this could be a trilogy, and I believe it should be a trilogy.
Yeah, there is a special rematch clause on it, so it's I think it is a two contract fight most likely, but we'll see how that goes down the line. But moving on, NBA coaching news. So first off, we'll go in the Raptors. They've obviously interviewed JJ Redick in the past. They have given permission to we've mentioned in the past Becky Hammond and Kenny Atkinson. The new name that came out was um what's his name? Do you remember
Well,
for the Raptors?
Steve Nash.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, yeah, Steve Nash, Canadian legend, obviously was linked. I saw a report that uh, the Raptors were impressed by him. So Raptor fan, we've seen Steve Nash last time. It was with a horrible situation with the top players, so massive egos to carry. If this is Steve Nash hire, do you think you wouldn't mind that? Obviously, they're doing a wide approach, clearly, right?
yeah.
And before I let you speak, is it going to be a rebuild if it's Steve Nash coaching?
If it's Steve Nash coaching, then it has to be a rebuild. I'm not gonna be as mad because Steve Nash, at least now, if we hire him, he has prior experience. Whereas if we like hired him like during the Nets time, where the Nets hired him when he had no experience at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like that's why I won't be as mad because now he's got that little bit of experience, so like he has something to build off. But I'm just Monty Williams day one, and hopefully it actually happens. But I'm just like Monty Williams, and hopefully no one else. But if at the end of the day, Steve Nash has now experience, which gives me a little bit more like, all right, let him give him some time, let him work, and it has to be a rebuild if it's Steve
Yeah,
Nash.
it's a good second chance opportunity. I think he deserves it after that Nets. And obviously it's on him as well for the Nets thing, not just the guys, but obviously give him let's see how he does with a second chance. The next team, the Suns, news came out from Shams. The Phoenix Suns have narrowed their head coaching search to 5 finalists. Nick Nurse, former Raptor coach, Frank Vogel, former Laker coach, Doc Rivers is back in the mix. Kings assistant Jordi Fernandez makes sense with how successful they have been this year, and Suns assistant so in house with Kevin Young. The biggest surprise with that name, I think, is Doc Rivers.
100%.
Um, he'll find a job, I guess, but I don't know if that's the right fit for him.
It's not because like this. It's not right fit for the Suns either because Doc hasn't performed in the playoffs. Suns haven't performed in the playoffs ever since the final, like 2 straight
Yeah,
absolute blowout losses at home to get eliminated. So they're gonna need someone with like some championship pedigree, like someone who's gonna. They just need someone who's gonna take no BS at this rate now, right?
yeah, and then speaking, obviously Nick Nurse deserves a job. He's also linked. We're gonna talk about the Bucks next, but also the Sixers. Frank Vogel obviously won a championship with the Lakers. He was scapegoated last year, so I do believe he did a very good job with Indiana during the Paul George days. Struggled with Orlando, but came with the Lakers' great defensive coach. So I think he could be a good fit there, especially with KD and Book. So let's see what he does. But I guess moving on to the Bucks, there's also an update with that. They've narrowed their search even more. So according to Woj, the Bucks are narrowing group of top candidates. Nick Nurse again, no surprise. Golden State assistant Kenny Atkinson and Toronto assistant Adrian Griffin. So two Toronto guys linked. That shows you something how good of a culture Toronto sets with their young guys. And yep, these guys will be having interviews, final conversations with Milwaukee next week. Nick Nurse also, like I said, Philadelphia and Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean all three candidates are good. Kenny Atkinson was a good coach before he was let go, and obviously now he got under get some time under Steve Kerr, which obviously is gonna help. And then Adrian Griffin is a good.
I disagree with Adrian Griffin slightly. First time head coach. We saw what happened with Steve Nash. I'm not saying obviously
Yeah, but
you're
Steve
going to
Nash
be
wasn't even an assistant. Adrian Griffin was an assistant.
true, but
Like, and he's
going
like
from
the
there,
assistant. Like
going from there to coaching to Giannis Antetokounmpo, Drew Holiday,
I mean,
and
Darvin Ham was an
championship
assistant.
aspirations. Yeah, no, true.
Exactly. So like, why
So
did you guys hire Darvin Ham then?
it's a tough spot for sure.
Yeah. So
But
like, you made the decision to hire Darvin Ham. He's an assistant behind
yeah,
Buck's
no, I
assistant.
know. Yeah, I guess
Mike
so.
Brown was an
I mean,
assistant.
we've seen him struggle. Mike Brown has head coaching experience though
Okay,
from a
yeah,
while ago. So
but Darvin Ham didn't.
yeah, so I mean, it
So
showed
like,
a
what's the
little bit. It
difference?
showed the inexperience a little bit. So yeah, no, we'll see.
Like, they're still
I'm
going to a
hoping he's
good team.
successful.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's not a bad hire. Um, yeah, I guess it's a good option. Obviously, I don't know. They also have some in-house guys from what I heard that are also good. So we'll see. Obviously, I know you love Adrian Griffin. He coached some games when Nick Nurse was out. He knows the system well. It's funny seeing Nick Nurse battle it out with his assistant coach for the job potentially. Um, yeah, I guess in the last NBA thing, unless you want to finish off with anything with the coaching,
No,
you're good.
yeah. I mean, moving on to the last part.
Big retirement news. Carmelo Anthony has officially announced his retirement yesterday. And yeah, yesterday or no, sorry, Monday.
Um, yeah, it was when the Lakers got eliminated, so
Yeah,
that
so
was
I think it was
Monday.
Monday. Yeah, so Carmelo Anthony has officially announced his retirement. He was one of two '03 draft class guys remaining. The other guy is LeBron James, which we'll get into later. But hell of a career, one of the greatest scorers of all time. Obviously couldn't win a championship, but he's at peace, he says. And one last thing, he will always be Melo. It's not gonna be LaMelo Ball. It's gonna be Carmelo Anthony when people say Melo.
Yeah, I mean, Carmelo Anthony, like, he obviously good run in Denver, good run in the Knicks as well. Uh, the one thing that I liked about, like, one thing I really liked about his career is when he had no job and came back with a year in Portland, and he actually played really, really well.
And then
In
got a
the
second contract with them as
Yeah,
well.
and then got a second contract and got a stint with the Lakers as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the Knicks just managed themselves properly, Carmelo Anthony could have had a different career story. But at the end of the day, you're an absolute great player, you know, uh, and just a great scorer and a great basketball player.
Yeah. First ballot Hall of Famer, most likely. So we'll see in 4 years' time if that's true. I think as long as no one else retires that are better than him, I think he's a first ballot. All right, moving on to the NBA Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Let's start with the one that got completed. The Nuggets have completed the sweep. As hard as for me to say that. So 4-0 ended on Monday. Let's start off with the Nuggets side of things first. What do you think?
Their players just showed up. Jokic triple double, 27-point triple double, I believe. Jamal Murray averaged 32 on 50, 40, 90 shooting. And then your players didn't. So you
Yeah,
guys got sent packing.
game four. Yeah, we started off hot. Third quarter cooled down. LeBron obviously went off. Had 30 in the first half. Then he just went 3-point mode because I just genuinely believe he's just injured and he couldn't like go further anymore. AD struggled offensively again this time. Got to the rack a little bit, but still struggled offensively. Defensively, he was still fine for what he could do compared to Jokic. And the Austin Reeves was our third best player. So the issue with that is, or we benched obviously D'Angelo Russell, we benched Jared Vanderbilt. Started pretty much played a 5-man lineup majority of the game. LeBron played the full 48. But sorry, circling back to the Nuggets here, we'll talk about the Lakers in a
Yeah,
second.
you Lakers fan. Always making about the Lakers all the time. Huh? What are you doing?
um, so my question to you is this: currently, is Jokic the best player in the NBA?
Yes. He
Um,
is dialed in. He has produced in all three series. And all three series, not obviously, like, they were gonna beat Minnesota, but Suns, like, there were people, like, I was probably one of them.
yeah, I said
Maybe
Suns were
thinking,
going to the conference
maybe thinking
finals.
that, like, all right, Suns will probably take out the Nuggets. All right, come to the Lakers. I was like, okay. I'm not saying like the Lakers would win. I would probably still think the Nuggets
You
could have
said
pulled
Nuggets and
through.
7.
Yeah, but I'm not saying like the Nuggets dominated you guys. They were in
I
control,
wouldn't say it was domination.
but they were always in
Each
control.
series, each game was like it went to the last shot almost, the last little like 2-3 minutes.
But like when you add it up over the series, they they were in control.
Yeah, that's
They
fine.
were always the better team.
Yeah, as part of the Jokic thing, it's so weird with this because like before we knew LeBron was the best player in the game in pretty much all of 2010s, right? Um, After that, Giannis came into the equation. Steph came back into the equation. KD's in the equation, right? Jokic is now in the equation. So it's like it's so situational and so timely now that like before it was no matter what. Oh, is LeBron old? No, he shows it up in the playoffs. He's still the best player in the NBA. Now it's like, okay, is it Giannis? Still arguable, right? Like consistently, I might say it might be Giannis. Is it Kevin Durant when he's playing? Is it LeBron even at times, right? But I don't. But the way Jokic has consistently been playing, I think he is the best player, at least for the last like couple of years. Well, I want to say last couple of years. This year, I think he solidified it with this playoff run. That he'll be in the top four mix from now on. And I guess the other question I have for you is, he has two MVPs. If he were to win this championship, whether it be against the Heat or the Celtics, and he gets Finals MVP, is he on par legacy wise with Giannis? Because they pretty much have the same hardware, except Giannis as the Defensive Player of the Year. And yeah, I think that's mainly it. I guess yes, Jokic might have to be more All NBA standards or consistently in the
Yeah,
conversation.
because Jokic could have won 3 MVPs in a row
Yeah,
too, right? So like, I'm not gonna say it because they both took a little bit of time, obviously, to make the finals. But the thing with Giannis didn't have an excuse of why he lost. Jokic had an excuse of, okay, my second best player is injured. Michael Porter Jr. is injured, right? Like after the bubble, like Jokic didn't really have any help if you think about it. Whereas Giannis, obviously, this year disappointed. 2019 blew a lead to the Raptors. 2020 lost to the Heat, and then finally won it in 2021, right?
yeah.
And then 2022, was it who? 2022 they lost to the
He was
Celtics.
without Middleton in that one.
Yeah, but then they also disappointed in Game 7. Like they lost by law in Game 7.
Yeah.
And then this year, obviously, the biggest disappointment of all, losing to an 8 seed, 4-1.
Again, the issue with that is he was out for the first three games, you could say. And the last two, they did blow leads. I get that, but that's the only argument against for Giannis there. It's debatable. I feel like I won't be surprised if Giannis takes it next year. Like it's not solidified that Jokic is the best, but from the last couple of years, you have to say he's the best. Like two-time MVP potential, could have been a three. To be fair to Giannis, he could have been the third MVP, got his third MVP as well. Um, and this is not even recency bias, right? Like I don't think Jokic gets talked about enough because it's Denver, and I agree with Michael Malone that like we win game one, but it's about, oh, can the Lakers come back and do this, right? And I'm saying this as a Laker fan that we are talked about a lot for sure, and I'm not saying rightfully so, but they are the Lakers. They are that franchise, right? So, but people that are saying, "Oh my God, Jokic is now," like I think Jalen Rose came out and said he's now a superstar. He was a superstar from like 3 years ago,
Yeah,
from what
100%.
I heard,
The
right?
bubble, obviously, he still put up numbers, like won back-to-back MVPs. Um, Still put up a fight. Like, yeah, they got smoked by the Warriors last year, but like, he was still playing
And even
well.
and even in this series, because like the reason why I picked the Lakers wasn't because I'm a Lakers fan. In my opinion, I gave significant reasoning. You could say otherwise. That like I think Anthony Davis is that guy, and he's done it in the past to slow him down. Obviously, Jokic won that matchup, right? And that's what solidified me as like he's the best center in the game. He's definitely not in. He's definitely a tier above Embiid in my opinion, and he's yeah, I think you have to say that he's the best player in basketball. And then legacy wise, yeah, I think he's matched up at least up until, let's see who. If first of all, this is assuming he wins the ring, right? If he wins the ring and the Finals MVP, then you have to like have an argument. As of right now, you could argue Giannis could be a better player, but they both have skill sets that are like freak athleticism to like amazing center that we've never seen a point center like that in ever, right? So, I guess before we move on to the Lakers, I want to ask you this.
Just another quick point about Game 4. It was funny because like you guys were up by 15, and the person that kept the Nuggets in the game was Aaron Gordon, who dropped 22 that game as
Yeah,
well. So props to Aaron Gordon for,
yeah, I've known for sure.
just dropping some buckets.
But so 2019, you guys Raptors made the championship for the first time, right? And then this happened right here.
Yeah.
2023, the Nuggets made the finals. So those two teams are now off this list. So, 5 teams have not reached the NBA Finals. Can you guess those 5 quickly? And I'll give you slight hints. And the next question, I'll give you the next question after, actually.
So I would say the Kings are one.
No, they've made the
They
finals.
made the finals.
Like
Okay.
way back when, though.
Okay. So Suns did make it. Bro, I'm
4 Western teams, 1 Eastern team.
for Western.
Yeah,
So like Pelicans.
1.
What else? And
Think our city.
oh, so Memphis.
Yep, 2.
I feel like Charlotte hasn't made it, right?
3. So that's the East. So you have 2 more West. Both of them were playoff teams this year.
Both of them are playoff teams.
Yes.
Minnesota.
Yep.
Oh, Denver made it now, right?
Yeah.
So, Clippers.
Yes. So Hornets, Clippers, Timberwolves, Grizzlies, and Pelicans. So my question to you is, who will be the next one to get out?
So what was it?
Who will reach, sorry, to the finals?
Clippers, Timberwolves,
Grizzlies, Pelicans, and Hornets. I think the Hornets are not anytime soon.
Hornets not anytime soon. I mean, the West is pretty stacked.
I don't think the Timberwolves anytime soon.
I don't think the Timberwolves will make it. Memphis got to make some off-season moves because they're clearly not a finals team. So it has to be the Clippers if they could just stay healthy.
Yeah, like, I mean, the cop-out answer should be the Clippers, right?
Yeah.
If you're talking about potential, that could be the Pelicans, but that's assuming Zion's health as well, and what else they could fix around that. But yeah, I guess the easy answer, the cop-out answer is the Clippers. But it makes it even more funny that those 2 guys can't get them to the finals. But yeah, no, that's the Nuggets are, congratulations to you guys. You guys are in the NBA Finals now.
Yeah, they're also been the number 1 offense, and they showed that really why in that series
The thing
as well.
with the Nuggets was Michael Malone made the adjustments that the Lakers made, and he countered it, obviously, and he outcoached Norvin Ham. The players obviously outplayed. Jamal Murray again was the key to the series, and he lived up to that. I guess moving on towards the Lakers, I know you might have some questions for me, but what? I guess my question to you before you, because you're gonna ask me the same question. Obviously, it was a sweep. In my opinion, like, it wasn't like one of those sweeps where it was like brutal, right? Like, it could have gone either way at the end of the day if with certain shots falling. But do they run it back, in your opinion, as a neutral looking in this? Or do you think they should go after a third star, like guys like Kyrie and Trae Young are linked?
Kyrie, maybe I want to go after Trae Young just because you guys' defense was horrible, and then it got better, obviously.
Yeah.
Once you made the trade and the trade deadline. Running it back is probably the best option, in my opinion, just because you guys made it to the conference finals, and I don't think it was a fluke, right? Like, you guys like deserve to make it here. Like, you guys were the better team in both series against the Grizzlies and the Warriors, and if you have a full year of this team, you might avoid a play-in spot next year as well.
Yeah, the only thing that scares me, because I agree with you, I'm leaning more run it back because of you could build a full roster. And the other reason why is, like, take the Lakers side of things out. As an NBA fan, the parity in the league was insane, right? Like, you didn't know who was coming out of the West, or who's gonna win it all, right? The thing with Kyrie, with LeBron's age, I don't know if he's that capable guy, and obviously we'll talk about Anthony Davis in a second. Do we need that third star and have like that triple 1 ABC type thing, or LeBron takes a back seat type of thing? The question for me is, like, can D'Angelo Russell be consistent enough, right? Can Austin Reeves has great of, if we do re-sign him, can he take that next step and take that D'Angelo Russell role if D'Angelo Russell leaves? But I definitely want to run it back because I feel like maybe small changes, like get a decent backup center that could be available, like a Jakob Pertl is there, just like a grit grind, get offensive rebounds and defend, stuff like that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think running back will be like also the safest option as well. But if you get someone like a Kyrie, like, you'll have a trustworthy, consistent ball handler who will make plays after
Trustworthy
LeBron.
in terms on the court, but not off
Yeah,
the court.
obviously, but if it's playoff
Which is still
time,
a big thing.
if it's playoff time, he will be playing.
Whoa,
Right?
we don't know, man. It's Kyrie.
No, he will be playing his playoff time. All right, if I'm just no way he will be playing. If it's like playoff basketball, he will be on the court and meaningful games. So like yeah, you'll have a trustworthy ball handler, a guy who can make shots. So they'll give like it will let LeBron step back. Whereas D'Angelo Russell like was inconsistent. Like he was more of a regular season player than a playoff player.
No, no, for sure.
And then yeah. So what would you say about your 80 take now?
Camera's right there. I stand by with everything what I said at the beginning of the series. Still
So
do. Before I get into what I'm saying, because I do see some ludicrous shit on the internet, I'm not sitting here saying AD is this perfect NBA player. We know the potential is there, but he is what he is at this point of his career. At this point of his career is still a top 15 current NBA player. I'm not saying he's sitting here if there's certain players are available for trade, you trade AD. Yeah, like if players are available for trade, that makes sense. I'm not sitting here saying no. He has 2 years left on his contract. LeBron is still on the roster, hopefully, which we'll get into slowly. But it just makes no sense to me. Like, oh yeah, Anthony Davis is the reason why we lost this series. Anthony Davis is the reason why we're in the conference finals in the first place. I have a question for you. You tell me this. If Anthony Davis was meh defensively, would we have got past the first round?
first round, yes. Second round, no.
So the fact that we even got past the Warriors is insane, right? And I get it. He struggled offensively. He was inconsistent, not struggled. He had monster games even in the conference finals. But it's just like Jokic just outplayed him. I get that. I'm not putting him in the same tier as Jokic. He has to show that to me. But Anthony Davis is still a top 15 NBA player. He ain't no bum. He ain't no scrub. He still comes out and played in the playoffs, right? I get it. If the take for trade him is just injuries, I could live with that. If it's just injuries. If it's saying, oh, he's this guy that ain't great, even if he's inconsistent offensively, he lives on the defensive end, right? You can't tell me that he was not the best defensive player in the playoffs this year. He had the most rebounds. He had the most blocks. They were literally anchoring. If you see Anthony Davis in the paint, they're trying to get his ass out of the paint, right? The Warriors did that successfully, and he still held his own on the perimeter. He wasn't no Rudy Gobert unplayable in the playoffs, right? So the problem is, yes, I get it. The inconsistency is there, but when you get him defensively, and you will get consistent 15 points a game at least, right? 20 points a game with horrible percentages, he'll get to the line usually, right? So the take about, oh yeah, he sucks, we should trade him, blah, 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 is ludicrous. Like, I think that's dumb. That being said, like, yeah, if we do trade him for a Dame Lillard, for example, question is, can we get someone to replace what Anthony Davis is capable of? Can we get that Bam Adebayo type of player? Can we get Miles Turner, for example? Then sure, I'm open to that discussion. I don't think that's happening, though, because if you're trading for Anthony Davis, right, you're pairing him with someone. That's who Anthony Davis is. He's not the alpha. He is the guy you pair someone to win a championship with.
So what happens if LeBron retires? What do you do?
See, I don't think the Lakers will rebuild, right? Because it's the Lakers. They're going to go after big names, whether that be Damian Lillard, Kyrie Irving, Trae Young, whatever the
But
case.
what if that fails? What do you do then?
Then I'll consider trading him.
Like then you have to trade him.
Yeah, like that's fine then, right? As if LeBron is on this team, I'm not trading Anthony Davis.
Okay, yeah. So then
Unless I could see a significant upgrade.
I'm just gonna.
Wait, sorry, before I let you go. People don't know this. You are a huge AD fan yourself, right? He was your favorite player until Kawhi came in and helped you in a championship. So
Yeah.
what is your take about Anthony Davis as a neutral, not a Laker fan, but as a big Anthony Davis fan still?
Yeah. So
Because you were rooting for him.
I am rooting for him, and I still root for him. Obviously, because I'm just gonna look at it at the perspective of the people saying that he's a bum. All right. The thing is that Anthony Davis set himself a standard. All right. Everyone could agree that when he was in the Pelicans, he was the best big in the game.
Yeah, no, for sure.
100%,
He's
right?
still top 3, but yeah, he's not the best.
All
For
right.
sure. I get that.
Top 3 is getting a little bit questionable for me.
Who's better than him outside of Jokic? Is Embiid definitively better than him?
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't think he's definitively better than him.
Embiid
No.
has
Embiid has the same health
no,
issues
no.
too.
Yeah, health issues, okay, but Embiid's ability is better. His
Who
attitude,
performed better in the playoffs?
his
this
attitude
year?
might not be better.
Who
Obviously,
performed better in the playoffs this year?
bro, he's been so inconsistent. The games he has lost, he's been dropping like 10 points.
But who made it further though in the tougher conference?
Yeah, I know who's made it further. He also had LeBron.
Yeah, but LeBron wasn't the same.
Embiid
LeBron.
is the guy. All right, you know that. Like Embiid has to be the best player.
But still, you can't say like it's definitively. But then who's fine? If he's 3, who's ahead of him at below 3 then?
Yeah.
Are you taking Domantas Sabonis?
No.
I'm sure Kings fans would prefer AD over.
It might
Domantas
just be
Sabonis.
Wembanyama. Who knows?
That's okay.
I
Well,
know.
that's
Yeah. Okay.
potential.
So he's gonna be dropping soon, in my opinion. Reason being, is because I'm looking at it when people are saying, right, they're calling him a bum because he set himself a standard, right,
Which
of
is
being the
fine.
best big in the game, of being one of the most
The
consistent
prob-
players in the game.
The problem with that take now is, like, listen, I was listening to Get Up this morning, and JJ Redick said it perfectly. He is who he is, and he is still a top 15 player.
Yeah, I'm
in
not
this
calling
game.
him a
You can't,
bum.
No, I'm not saying you're calling him a bum.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you have to live with the fact that he's not that guy, right? But he's still an all NBA caliber player. He's an all defensive player, D-point caliber player, right? He's still that top 15 guy. He's still that guy you would want on your team despite the injuries. Okay, you can't tell me if Anthony Davis was traded this year, let's say for a KD package, like people were saying he should have been traded earlier in the year. You're not getting someone significant in return for Anthony Davis that will help you get to this far at this point. Is my point here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sitting. Yes, I might sound like an AD fanboy. I'm passionate about this because, yes, I agree with you. He had set himself a standard, but even as a fan, I understand the standard has dropped, but he's no longer the best guy. I get that, but no big man really is outside of Jokic because of the skill set Jokic has as a point guard capability.
But here's I don't like Embiid. I'll be honest with you. The reason why I'm saying Embiid is better because Embiid is that guy for the Sixers. AD is a 1B. Right? AD, you ain't winning with AD by himself. I'm not saying you're going to win with Embiid by yourself, but Embiid has to be the guy.
That's my point, though, because I feel like, yes, Jokic has officially set himself as the best.
Jokic
right?
is the best. That's
fine.
No.
2 and 3 is a battle. You can't tell me that Embiid is... Yeah, sure. If you want to base it on the regular season, Embiid has the edge. If we were to do rankings right now, I have Embiid second. He deserved his MVP, right? He deserved that. But when it matters most, you saw Anthony Davis give it his all on the defensive end, despite his injury. He's probably having an off-season surgery on his foot, right? And I get the day to Davis. I get all of every other day Davis. I'm not sitting here saying he's this untouchable piece, but you build a team around how you did with this current roster, which is why I said run it back. You are capable of winning, and he's best equipped to that. We were the best defensive team because AD was there and Jared Vanderbilt helped that.
Yeah, okay, but the games you lost were because of AD.
Not just because of him, but he was a
but
factor.
His points weren't there on the offensive
But
end.
how about the games we won? 40 points in game 1.
So you won because of AD. So that
We
just
didn't
shows.
lose. We lost game 1 to Jokic.
Okay, so one game, but at the
Game
end
3 we lost, and AD played well.
Okay, so but
So
the other
that's
games?
where that's
no,
my
but there are
point.
games in the Memphis series. There's games in the Golden State series. All right, so you lost 2 games, but you lost the other 2 games as well.
But
Game
there's-
2 and game 4. What about game 2 and game 4?
Golden State was 1 game, first of all,
What about game 2 and game 4 though?
in Memphis.
No, in Denver. He didn't show up in game 2. He didn't show up in game 4.
Yeah. Offensively, yes, I agree with that.
Exactly.
So that's where I get frustrated with him. Like, I can't keep defending him. But he ain't no Ben Simmons either.
He's not Ben Simmons.
So that's where my point is. Like, if you're calling Ben Simmons a bum, you better not be putting him... People can't not be calling Anthony Davis a bum.
They can't be. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's my take at that, right? The bum, he should be out as a Laker. He's the reason why LeBron, which we're going to get into now, is going to potentially retire, which I don't think he is. But I still think that Anthony Davis can be your 1B, pair him with a 1A, and you're still you're a championship contender. At this point, I'm going to make that clear. At this point of his career.
Yeah, at this point, you have to. But I'm just saying, the reason why people are putting this narrative around Anthony Davis, because I'm with you, all right, and most of it. Of course, he's been inconsistent. We all know that. But I'm just saying the reason why these people are putting this narrative around Anthony Davis is because he did set himself that standard of being the best big in the game.
We've seen more good than... And the inconsistency is inconsistent, but we haven't seen 50-50 towards the season, right? We've seen consistent defense. And we've seen, I would say, like a 2/3 to a third in terms of the offense as well. But would you trade Anthony Davis if you were a Laker fan right now?
Right now,
Right now, this moment.
I mean, it has to be for like another star piece.
And do you think that will happen? Is my question to you.
I mean, who knows?
If you do
Would you?
if you do a KD package, the Mikal Bridges package, instead of Cam Johnson, it was DeAndre Ayton, then I would want a Dame Lillard or Kyrie Irving. Hopefully he plays in return as well, because there's no other. Who's the best defensive big in the game?
I mean, Anthony Davis showed that this postseason.
So that's my point. That's the tough part. That's the reason why I'm saying that. Yes, he's been inconsistent offensively, but we also have to acknowledge the fact he isn't that guy as he made it out to be. We can't say, oh, well, because I've heard people say, oh, he's just a Ben Wallace if he's defensive. No, he still drops 20 points a game.
Yeah, so the issue is the glimpses then. That's the issue.
I agree with that. But my argument isn't he's not inconsistent. I completely 100% agree with that. My take is he ain't no bum. He ain't no guy that you trade just because to trade a guy. Right? If LeBron, now we'll move on to the LeBron side of things here. We'll end the Anthony Davis talk for now. But LeBron came out and said he doesn't know what he's going to do next year, whether he's going to stay with the Lakers or retire. Then, yes, Anthony Davis, my take will be a little bit different.
Okay, yeah, so we'll just keep on LeBron. So he said, considering retirement and moving, retirement, I'm not buying it at all. You're one season away from playing with Bronny. All right, there's no way you're retiring. I can't buy that at all.
He did say himself that two things. One, it's his dream, but it may not be Bronny's dream, but not that point. Two, he still is, to be fair, better than majority of the players in the NBA right now. He said, I'm still better than 95% of the players in the NBA, so why wouldn't I play? But he also acknowledged that he might have to be a number 2 now, which is why when we talked about the Lakers bringing in a third star is kind of key, or AD, which I don't think he is, elevates even more than he is, and if he's healthy in that case.
So that's where you might struggle. But yeah, so keeping at LeBron, maybe switching teams. I doubt it. I don't think that. I don't see.
He's only gonna switch where Bronny comes.
This is just talk, bro. Like, you had this dream set out, you had this plan set out that, all right, I'm gonna play with my son. You're one season away from it. You're not retiring, brother. I'm just saying, I'm not buying it. If you do retire, I guess jokes are on me, but there's no way. It's like Tom Brady. He might just retire and come back from retirement.
I don't see that. I think once LeBron retires, he'll retire, but I don't think it's now. I think it'll be in 2 years.
It has to be. Like, you had this dream set out.
But yeah. All right, moving on before we close it off, let's talk about the Heat versus Celtics. So, Celtics avoid the sweep. It's now 3-1. Jason Tatum came out, like classic elimination game, Jason Tatum.
Yeah, he finally balled out this series and absolutely dominated. Made some timely shots. Every time he had a run to get back into the game, Tatum went on his run.
Not even just Tatum. In that third quarter, because the Celtics were down and they just kept hitting threes. Marcus Smart was hitting threes. Jason Tatum was hitting threes. Grant Williams was hitting corner threes, and then the Heat role players obviously did not do what they did all series long. I mean,
Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin were still good in that game. It's just that other people other than that weren't really. Yeah, Jimmy wasn't like Jimmy, like playoff Jimmy has been this. Yeah, actually no, I think he was decent.
He was decent. I think Bam wasn't noticeable.
Yeah, Bam wasn't noticeable. Then obviously like other people off the bench weren't that great, like Lowry, and then Max Struss wasn't that great as well. So for Heat to win the game, it's obvious that like all those players need to be good. And I think Jimmy had like 29, so I think he played well.
Jimmy had 29. Yeah. Bam only had 10. Struss 9. Vincent Martin did their thing, but the bench, Lowry, Robinson struggled.
Yeah, so I feel like obviously Heat are still in the driver's seat. This doesn't really change anything for like prediction wise or saying that like, oh, the Heat are in trouble now. But it's a little bit scary as like what we predicted for the Lakers one is happening.
The flip.
Yeah, is happening to the Celtics, and the reason why we did say the Celtics will get swept because like they didn't have the energy in Game 3.
Yeah.
And they finally had the energy in Game 4, won the game. But another thing to notice is that Celtics have not been good on their home court at all.
Yeah, I've noticed that for sure. Like they struggled against Philly for Game 1 and 5. It was, I believe. Obviously closed it out in 7.
They lost 2 to the Hawks.
Yeah.
They lost 2 to the Heat. So they haven't defended home court at all. So like honestly, if they they're just able to defend home court. They would have easily won all 3 series.
Yeah.
But now they're facing a 3-1
The
deficit
one thing
now.
with the Celtics are they played well with the back against the walls, and now this is a big climb for sure. 3-0, never done before. But I believe that the Celtics will win Game 5 because they are at home. Just the momentum carry. Then I think they'll ultimately lose in 6. That being said, since I said that, I think the Heat are gonna win in 5. But
I'm honestly,
I think the Celtics will win Game 5.
I
Just
think
that
the series
momentum.
will end in 5. I think Jimmy's gonna have that one of those Milwaukee games, just to like, all right, time's up. I want to go to the final, and drop his points. And then I feel like Bam will have his good game again. And I feel like Jimmy's monstrous performance will just edge out the Celtics in Game 5 and
The the
send them to the finals.
the key is gonna be is Jason Tatum gonna play like how he did in Game 4. So if he doesn't, the Heat win. If he does, it's questionable for sure. Um, Jaylen Brown obviously struggled shooting the three. He did okay in the field in general. It was a collective performance. Malcolm Brogdon still struggled, but the report came out today that he is potentially playing with a partial tear in his elbow, leading up. I don't know if it was up to his arm, to his shoulder area. So obviously it makes sense of why he's been struggling on the field goal level. But yeah, I think the Celtics will get the next one and they will lose in 6. Just give them that hope, obviously, but it's still gonna be tough, right? Because the Heat already won 2 on their home court, so it's not like, oh yeah, the Celtics. That's not my reasoning. I just think they have the momentum for one more game, and then I feel like it'll die down in Game 6.
Yeah, I just feel like Jimmy's just gonna have his classic closeout game like he did against Milwaukee, and finish the series off, and we'll have a Miami Heat and a Denver Nuggets final.
Yeah, obviously being a Laker fan and you being a Raptor fan, I hope the Celtics do not come back 3-0 and be that first team in history. But they, in my opinion, they do have that potential. But like we said before, the Heat should be able to close it out in 5 or 6. I guess that's it for today.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Um, Follow our socials down below, especially our TikTok and Instagram. We are posting on there as well. Eventually, we'll hope to start posting on there daily. And other than that, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.